What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the program. I don't really have an intro for these types of videos, so just going to kind of free ball it right now. But it's Elite Largo coming at you with another NFL Draftkings Daily Fantasy lineup. Or lineups, I should say. So yeah. Last week was kind of blech. Didn't really do that well just because, I really did not expect the Bills to go ham like they did last week. And I also did not expect, well, there was a lot of things. But then again, who expects any of this stuff? But with that being said, let's just jump right into the quarterback situation. Now, there's a lot of things. A lot of people are going to be looking at Josh Allen, of course. I think, obviously, after last week, going up against Indy, Buffalo's at home. I expect a lot of people to be drafting Josh Allen. I would err on the side of caution a little bit, just because, I don't even really know, because I know it was a combination. Yeah, he threw for 366 and 2 touchdowns. So, I don't know. I wouldn't. It's kind of hard for me to say, oh yeah, definitely start him. He's gonna be that good again. But then again, he is solid. Don't get me wrong. I just think he's going to be so high on that I think you would need to really be like 100% spot on with the rest of your picks if you're going to be in the money anywhere, because I think so many people are going to be running with him. Doesn't mean that he shouldn't be in a few of your lineups, but if you're going with one lineup, or if you're in like a single entry or something like that, you could. If you got some picks that you really, really like, you can run with it, but Allen is just one of those that I'm not making it like a must play kind of deal. You know what I mean? Same with Lamar. Lamar Jackson, as good as he can be, it just hasn't been the same explosive, like consistent Lamar. Sure, he's had moments of brilliance, but really the big thing that gets him a ton of points are when he runs the ball. Or obviously against Indy, where he threw for 4 touchdowns and ran for an additional 62 yards. Awesome. But then in the very next week, against the Chargers, he only throws 167 yards. Turns the ball over twice, runs for only 50 yards. And then the very next week, again, against Cincinnati, they play well, but his points are kind of like average. And then against Minnesota, boom, 3 touchdowns. But again, all of that came because the Vikings absolutely imploded. And he also threw 2 picks. But he ran for 120 yards. That's really what got him over the top. Plus, the 3 touchdowns doesn't hurt either. But then against Miami, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, not much on the ground, and 238 yards. Only 16 fantasy points. And against Chicago, I expect it to be a much tougher matchup. The weather's looking kind of fair in Chicago, I guess. Not really bad weather. So at 8,000, for just the level of inconsistency, that's what's concerning. And on the opposite side of the ball, you don't know what Chicago team you're going to get from week to week. So I'd err on the side of caution. Lamar Jackson, I think he'll obviously be highly owned just because of his ceiling is so high, but his floor, my God, when he hits the floor, it's painful when you spend $8K and he has a game like the game he had against Miami or the game he had against the Chargers. Kyler Murray is questionable still. I think they're I think they're making it a game time because he did practice. Dang, McCoy is out too, right? Oof. Chris Stravler as the only backup quarterback, or the only quarterback without an injury. I guess Murray. They're playing in Seattle, so that's a late game. So I really am uncomfortable with making those calls when you have to literally wait until like 3:45, 3:30 before you find out if he's going to play or not. So Mahomes at 7,600. This is probably one of the best values that you're going to get out of Patrick Mahomes. Going up against the Dallas defense, it's kind of middle of the pack. They've been up and down this year. I mean, obviously they just dominated the Falcons, but we're not going to see that here. This is Kansas City we're talking about. And if anybody has more to prove right now, I mean, obviously he definitely shut everyone up against the Raiders. So he threw for 406 and 5 touchdowns. I mean, that was just a lights-out performance for Patrick Mahomes, but that's what we expect out of him. And again, it was against the Raiders, so... But consistency is the thing. So they're looking for a back-to-back win here. They're at home against Dallas. It's one of those games that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But I think for a player like Mahomes, $7,600 is probably the best price you're going to see him at. So he's definitely one of the main quarterbacks to build lineups around. Same with Dak Prescott, $7,200. Kansas City defense hasn't been that great this year as far as pass defense, and Dak had a solid game, 2 touchdowns. He just missed that 300-yard bonus, but I think this is a great matchup for him. A-Rod again, he's only $7K against Minnesota. Minnesota, this is the thing. Stat-wise, Minnesota is not a good defense, but on the field, week to week, they can be one of the more dominating defenses in the league, or they can freaking choke. And when I say choke, I mean choke and croak on the field. But Aaron Rodgers is back. He had that big win against Seattle. Devontae Adams is good. So I think Aaron Rodgers, especially at 7K, again, it's just too good a value to ignore. Some of the other quarterbacks I'm interested in, Russell Wilson, just because he's at 6,500. I know it's against Arizona, and Arizona's has played pretty well, but you just can't discount Russ. And after the shutout last week, I think this Seattle team has a lot to prove if they're going to be considered a playoff team. And this is a division rival, so this is one of those must-win games for Seattle. They're at home. It's going to be 425. I think if there is a game for Russell Wilson and the Seahawks to really take off, this is the game. So at 6,500, I think that's a good price. I know the last week's performance is kind of scary. 7 just single-digit fantasy points, but I just don't see that happening again. Let's see. Jimmy Garoppolo, believe it or not, 5,600, 25th defense. That's if you really want to go budget. If he throws multiple touchdowns, fantastic. But he's not going to be airing it out. And the Jacksonville defense isn't really all that great, so really you'd want to invest more in the running backs or Deebo Samuel because Samuel does get a lot of touches in the running game as well with jet sweeps and heck, even just straight up handoffs as we saw against the Rams early on Monday Night Football. So Garoppolo, as far as budget goes, fantastic option. Tua, I'm not really sold on. Maybe a skill position for the Dolphins, but so yeah, my favorite play this week is definitely Cam Newton coming home to Carolina. Should have never left. He threw 4 passes against the Cardinals, completed 3 of them, only 8 yards though, and a touchdown, and then he also ran one in for a touchdown. So this is going to be a game that I'm going to be glued to because I really want to see if Cam can turn this Carolina team around because they've got the players. And Washington's coming off a really good win against the Buccaneers. So this is going to be a really good game in my opinion. And when I say good game, it could either be like, big plays, a lot of fun, or it can be one of those defensive slugfests that's just a grinder. And I like those games too, because those are exciting, just as exciting. So Cam Newton, though, at 5,100, he's paired back up with Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey had some of his best years. Well, I should say that he had some of his best years with Cam, even though he only played technically one whole season without Cam last year, I believe, or the year. I can't even remember anymore. But I think pairing him with CMC is a really good go-to, especially at 5,100. So we'll see. Cam definitely doesn't have the arm strength anymore, but he can definitely still make plays with his legs. And I just think I just got a good feeling about it. Mike White, maybe not so much. Everybody was on that train after the game he had. Well, he started out with against Indian in the game he had against Cincy, the comeback win. But who knows? Maybe he could come back and prove everybody wrong again. So moving on to running backs. Obviously CMC, he's going to be so highly owned, and he's at 8,900. I mean, everybody's going to be looking at the Washington defense, but Christian McCaffrey, again, it's not about the defense he's going against, it's the volume. I mean, 13 attempts, 10 catches, that's 23 touches and targets, and he had over 100 yards. No touchdowns, but still scored 26 points. Imagine if he got into the end zone. You're looking at 30-plus fantasy points. Or if he even got the 100-yard bonus, And, it's a far cry from, the rest of the year. Outside of the first game against the Jets, where he had 98 total yards. And then also, of course, against the Saints, where he had 72 and 65. And then he got hurt, obviously. But CMC is... I wouldn't worry too much about the defense, because if they eliminate him as a runner, which is tough to do, he's just going to kill you in the passing game. And I see this game where I seriously see this as another game like he had against the Cardinals, where he only runs the ball 13 times, but he catches 10 or 12 passes. I really expect that. There's also, obviously, Jonathan Taylor. He's another guy that is this week, this is the biggest test for Indy. Indy is the best worst team, the best bad team I've seen so far this year. And this is their real test. If they beat Buffalo, it's going to be because Jonathan Taylor goes off. If they have to rely on Carson Wentz throwing the ball, game's over. It's not going to work. So Jonathan Taylor pretty much has to have one of the game. Well, pretty much these types of games that he's had all year. He needs to completely take over, not just in the running game, but in the passing game as well. So, but the thing is that he's just been such a home run. 8,300 is kind of hard. I'd rather spend up and just get CMC at that point. Dalvin Cook is another player also that I'm looking at. But again, going to be highly owned against at home against the Packers. I think my favorite play is honestly going to be Nick Chubb against Detroit. I mean, it's Detroit. And they're at home, and they're not going to have Baker Mayfield, because isn't Mayfield hurt too? Or am I dreaming? I could have sworn I saw Baker Mayfield out. No, he's playing. Oh, I thought he was hurt. Knee for sure, doesn't have an injury designation. Oh, okay. All right, never mind. I lied. Well, regardless, him being banged up, I expect them to run the ball a little bit more. Ezekiel Elliott at 7,700 against Kansas City maybe hasn't. I mean, if he doesn't get lately, it's been one of those. If he doesn't score a touchdown, you're feeling really bad about spending up for him. So it's one of those you really got to feel that he's going to be scoring a touchdown. And against the Chiefs, this could be one of those days where Dak Prescott goes for 350, 400 passing yards. Joe Mixon, solid option here. Again, having a really good year. scoring a lot of touchdowns, getting a lot of touches. So Joe Mixon, good option, 7,600, not a bad price. DeAndre Swift, I actually like simply because of volume. I mean, look at this against Pittsburgh: 33 carries and also three catches. So that's 36 touches, 39 pretty much basically targets because of the attempts as well. He didn't even score a touchdown, which is the sad part. But he's even with that, he got 19 and a half fantasy points. I think because they're not going to have Jared Goff, and their backup quarterback is coming off of injured reserve with like a thumb injury. I honestly think they're going to lean heavily on DeAndre Swift, even though Cleveland has been decent against the run. So, but as far as value goes, I absolutely love A.J. Dillon here in this matchup, going up against the Vikings with Aaron Jones being out. This is probably going to be like my top play, the save on cap space. Let's see. Josh Jacobs is okay, I guess. They haven't been running the ball as consistently as I would like them to, but that's mainly because they've been playing from behind so much, I think. So, I don't know. I'm not too crazy about Josh Jacobs. At 6K against a run defense that's susceptible, maybe you can take a shot at it. I mean, 6K, it's not a bad price. Let's see. Mark Ingram. This is probably one of my favorite ones. Again, unfortunately, it really depends on touchdowns, but pretty active in the passing game, I must say. I mean, not like outside of the game against Tennessee, not getting a ton of yards in the passing game. Excuse me. Got the agita. 14 attempts for 47 yards. So not a ton of yards, but he's going to be the number one back. Philadelphia hasn't really been playing the run that well this year, despite having some solid run defenders. But I think Mark Ingram could have a solid game. I mean, they're going to be leaning more on the run anyway, with Winston being gone for the year and them having to rely on Trevor Siemian. So, let's see. Don't really think Jeff Wilson did see a good amount of touches against the Rams. I don't know because I know Eli Mitchell is doubtful, right? Who else is a running back? I lose track of these San Francisco running backs. Okay, so it is looking like Jeff Wilson's going to be the starter. And against Jacksonville, like we saw earlier, their defense isn't that good. They're going to be running, especially if they get up to an early lead. I think Wilson is a good value option, especially at 5,100, since it's looking like Eli Mitchell isn't going to play. On to receiver. So Devontae Adams leads it. It's basically between Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill for spending up options. You could maybe go with Stephon Diggs if you think that Indianapolis and Buffalo are going to be a close game. Like if for some reason the Buffalo Bills just can't stop Jonathan Taylor and it's a close game, then yes, Diggs would be a fantastic option. Same with Deebo Samuel. He's starting to get up there in price because he just keeps showing up week in and week out. I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in receiving yards, which makes sense given his production. I mean, the first game against Detroit with 189 yards, and then how many 100-yard games has he had? 2, 3, 4, almost 5. Yeah. He had 5 attempts running the ball, 36 yards and a touchdown. I mean, and they're probably going to be doing that a little bit more this week. So I think Deebo Samuel, with Eli Mitchell being down, Jeff Wilson being the starter, I would expect them to run a few more gadget plays with Deebo Samuel, and I think 7,800 is a solid price for Samuel. Just for the amount of flexibility you get at the position, because he could have another one of these games where he only catches 5 balls but goes for 97 and a touchdown, and then also runs one in for a touchdown. Or he could just have a really good running game and have like maybe 6 or 7 attempts. It's crazy. You don't normally see a wide receiver run the ball 5 times. So I see it happening again. Kansas, let's see. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is probably the top option as far as in this Kansas City game because Amari Cooper is on the C19 list. So definitely something worth looking into. CeeDee Lamb, also Michael Gallup. We'll look at that in a minute. DK Metcalf is one I'm liking. Hasn't really had the breakout year that everybody was hoping for, but he has been scoring touchdowns. That's the thing. He's got 8 touchdowns in 10 games. So that's pretty solid for me. And he's going up against a Arizona pass defense that's been, it's been okay. And I think, again, like I said, if there's a time for this team to go off, it's this week. It has to be this week. I didn't even see Tyler Lockett. Where is he? Oh, he's down here. Dang, Lockett's only 6K. I know Lockett's been having a somewhat of a down year. I mean, outside of the first 2 games, obviously. And then he had that breakout game against Jacksonville. That's against Jacksonville. Russ wasn't even playing in that one, I don't think. I think Lockett at 6K is like, I think that's like criminal. Because he's just so good. He's one of the most, just like Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett is one of the most underrated, undervalued, overlooked wide receivers in the game. So I know DK Metcalf, because of the touchdowns, it's so enticing at 6,800, but I think your best value for volume-wise is going to be Lockett at 6K. I also don't mind Brandon Cooks. I know Houston is like a dismal black hole that you don't want to play anybody, but who is Tyrod Taylor back at quarterback for Houston? I don't even know. That's how little I pay attention to Houston. Let's see. DJ Moore, solid option against the Redskins, especially with Cam Newton coming back. I would expect him to get more volume as far as like running like the intermediate routes. I don't think Cam really has the arm to stretch the field because we all know DJ Moore is like a deep threat. So Hunter Renfro is another guy I like just because of volume. He's only scored 4 touchdowns, but the volume is there and the potential is there. And if the Raiders are going to get back on top of things, they're at home against the Bengals. Not the best defense. This is the time to do it. He's only 5,800. Same with Jalen Waddle. He's obviously the top option now. The volume is clearly there. And they're going up against the Jets defense, which isn't that great. Let's see. Not crazy about Emmanuel Sanders. Not really crazy about Darnell Mooney because I'm just not sold on Justin Fields yet. And they're going up against a Baltimore defense that is playing they're playing really well. Put everything else aside. They're playing really well. Also, another player I really like that I don't think people are really looking at is Jarvis Landry. He's basically the number 1 receiver at this point. And at 5,100 against Detroit, I know they're going to be running the ball, but Detroit has played up to their competition to give or take a few games where they've been absolutely blown out, like against Philly or against Cincinnati. But other than that, against Green Bay, that game got away from them. But San Fran, they were there 41-33. Green Bay, they weren't really in it. Baltimore nearly won it. Chicago, I don't remember if they won that or not. Minnesota, they were there. Cincy, they got blown out. They were there with the Rams, blown out by Philly, tied with the Steelers. They've played up to their competition more times than not. So I wouldn't put it past this game actually being close. And given how inconsistent Cleveland has played, if you want it for a cheap option at wide receiver, I think Jarvis Landry is there. He's always been the volume target, so I think it could be a solid option. Could be. Let's see. Always I got to go with my man Cole Beasley. Didn't really do much against the Jets because they really didn't have to play that hard, to be honest. The defense and the running game did most of the work, but clearly, again, volume target. Only scored once, but volume's there. Again, though, one of those things where you have to wonder, is it going to be a game where Buffalo's just going to be running the ball more because they're ahead by so much, or is it going to be close? So Robbie Anderson, he's been kind of a disappointment. I really thought he was going to have a bigger year. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I did say Michael Gallup. Yeah. So with Cooper being on C19 list, Gallup moves into that number 2 spot. I really like Michael Gallup. Who is that other Dallas receiver? Is he less than... He's less... Wow, he's less than Michael Gallup. Where is he? Cedric Wilson. Definitely moving into the slot. Definitely going to be seeing a lot more playing time now. At 3,100, I would say if you're loading up on stars, 31. No, that's Albert Wilson, Cedric Wilson here. Yeah, if you're loading up on stars, I think at 3,200, I think that is a solid option. Rashard Higgins, another solid option. Yeah, Higgins moves up the depth chart. Anthony Schwartz, concussion. Wow. Donovan Peoples-Jones is another one, but I think they. Oh, well, he's also questionable. How about that? And didn't practice on Thursday. He did practice on Friday. 4,500. That's still a really good price. So those are my receivers that I'd be looking at. Tight end, obviously Travis Kelce. I mean, again, volume and production. 5 touchdowns on the year, almost 1,000 yards receiving. Kittle, another option, but I wouldn't go over the top because we can't really expect this to be like a shootout or a high-scoring game. I think Darren Waller is probably at 6,100. Didn't really have a good game at all against the Chiefs. Normally a solid option though, and at 6,100, I think that's fair. Mark Andrews is a clear target machine for Lamar Jackson. He's the most consistent receiver that they have right now. My favorite though is gonna be T.J. Hawk. I know he didn't play. I know he didn't have a single catch at all against Pittsburgh, but that game was an anomaly. Okay. So much stuff went wrong. So many things happened that just do not happen in a regular game. So I would overlook this because outside of that, the past 3 games, he had over 30 targets, okay? And he caught way over half of them. So the touchdowns I know are not there, but the volume is, and I think in this game against Cleveland, Cleveland has some solid defensive backs, if I remember correctly. I think Hawkins and the receivers are not that great for Detroit, so Hawk is definitely the number 1. So at 5,700, I think that's a solid price. For him. You could look at Zac Ertz. Again, it really depends on if Kyler Murray plays, if I can speak. Dalton Schultz, I don't know. The Dallas tight ends are frustrating, man. The talent is there. They just have so many other better players that like you can't really hang your hat on any of them. You could roll with Dallas Goedert because he's back, but I'm not sure. This again, Philly is another frustrating team to draft around because you never know what team you're going to get week in and week out. I mean, you could get the team that absolutely stomped the Lions and the Falcons, and I guess technically the Broncos, or you can get a team that absolutely craps the bed and gets absolutely smoked. You know what I mean? I mean they've been in a lot of games, but they haven't really played that well, that consistently, I should say. I'm not crazy about a lot of these tight ends, to be honest. Tyler Conklin is okay. I wouldn't look too much into the 2 touchdown game. Yeah, I guess really Dan Arnold, Dallas Goedert is probably your best. Maybe Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz has been getting a fair amount of targets in Arizona, so Zach Ertz at 48 is not bad. But if you're gonna pay up, and by pay up I mean like even at 5,700, I think TJ Hawk is definitely worth it. All right, so let's see. Let's build some lineups, huh? Let's build some lineups. So let's do my favorite, Cam Newton, CMC. Let's come down to let's nail down a defense. So, I usually try and find the best value defense. The talent is there for the Bears, and they're at home, and Baltimore's played so inconsistently. I'm gonna choose the Bears. The Bears. As far as another, let's throw Mark Ingram in there. All right, we got 56-20. I definitely want to play TJ Hawk. So let's see. Let's get, just because of the price point, let's throw, where is he? Let's throw Gallup in there. 42. 59.75. Not too crazy about that. All right. Let's throw Hawk in. All right, 6K, basically. Flex, I like going with running backs in the flex just because of the versatility. Let's throw Jeff Wilson in there. Okay, we're at 6,500. Man, so this is how much CMC eats up your cap. Really sucks. Let's throw, just for schnitz and giggles, let's throw Jarvis Landry in there. All right, we got 8K, so we can spend up. Oh man, I don't have anybody in that outside of Gallup in that Dallas, Kansas City game, and we're $200 off of Tyreek Hill. Is there someone I can skimp? You know what? As much as I like Gallup, I'm gonna go Cedric Wilson. Cause wait, does he cost more? No way he costs more, right? Gallup, Wilson, boom. Come up here. Grab Tyreek. How about that? See, if you go like that, you can take whatever you want. You can build up two lineups like this and go Hill and then Adams. One with Hill, one with Adams. I think that's a pretty decent. Yeah, we'll roll with Hill there. So there, if you want a screen cap, there's a lineup right there. All right, let's do one with like a. Yeah, I'll build one with Russ. Running back, let's say. Let's go with Mark Ingram. Nail down the defense. So yeah, let's roll the Bears. Wide receiver. Let's go with one of the top punt plays at receiver. Let's throw Gallup in there. Where is he? 4,200. Boom. All right. Let's go back to running back. Let's get AJ Dillon. How about that, huh? 6,300. I didn't even really look at Cincinnati outside of Joe Mixon. I like T. Higgins. Higgins got off to a really fast start. Whoa, sorry about that. Higgins got off to a really fast start, and it's been kind of quiet outside of that Baltimore game where he had 15 targets. Led the team in receiving. Let's go T. Higgins. I know I didn't bring him up in the receiver conversation, but I was overlooking Cincinnati so much. but I think that's fair. I think we can do that. So tight end. So we can spend up a little bit here. I'm really... All right, I know I like Hawk a lot, but I really... Hawk a lot. Let's run it back with this one. I think this one has the potential for a shootout right here. The best potential, I should say. Let's go Darren Waller. All right, back to receiver, 68.50. Well, let's go to the flex, actually. We got 68.50. I know I like running back at this position. So with that being said, do we go Jeff Wilson again? I think we do. Yeah. 8,600. So now we got, we got the pick of the litter here. Again, if you run this, what I really don't like doing is not pairing a quarterback with their receiver. So I think this one I would go Lockett, and then here you have 2,600. You could... Oh, shoot. What did I just do? I meant to take Gallup out. Son of a bitch. I don't even remember who was in there. Oh, I'm so freaking dumb. I swear to God. Who the hell did I put in there? I know y'all... Oh, Higgins, duh. All right. So if we take... 6,800. Yeah, I was trying to get up to CD. You could take T Higgins out and roll up and get CD Lamb. I don't really like leaving that much cap space on the table. Or you can spend up for a running back, and you could go with, oh, I like this, Nick Chubb. I like this. This I like. This I like. How about that, huh? How's that look? I think that looks good. So you go Tyler Lockett, T. Higgins, or you could run it back the other way, the way I had it before, and have your pick of the top receivers without Russell Wilson's, without a Russell Wilson receiver. But again, I'm not a huge fan of doing that unless you really think like, that quarterback is going to be spreading the ball around so much that, it doesn't really matter if you have a receiver or not to pair with him. All right, let's do one more with like a top flight quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. Let's throw Mahomes in there. And with that, let's see, Tyreek is 82, Kelsey 71. When it comes to pairing these two in the classic, or when it comes to pairing Mahomes with a receiver, I tend to lean towards Kelsey. I know Tyreek is the big play machine, but just for cost-wise. All right, defense, roll with Chicago again. The Chicago, like I said, I'm just going with the cheapest defense that I think has the best chance to score a decent amount of points. So here, let's just immediately go down to Jeff Wilson. Let's see. Wide receiver. Let's grab. Trying to be on the cheaper side here. I guess Gallup. Gallup. I mean, him being number 2, it's really hard not to. I'd rather take CD Lamb, to be perfectly honest, but it's just so hard when you're paying up for these big time players. Let's see. I guess we could cheap out on the running backs here. Go Mark Ingram. We got 6K. Jalen Waddle, maybe. 56. You know what? let's throw T. Higgins, I guess. 63. I'm not really digging this too much. Like, I'm really not liking this too much. All right, let's see. Come on, there's got to be somebody. All right, Jarvis Landry. All right, we're at 6,500. Let's come back to the flex. Let's grab A.J. Dillon. We're at 68. We can grab DK Metcalf. It's not awful. Devontae Smith. I know they're going up against the Saints, but the thing is that are we going to get the Devontae Smith that only catches one pass for 3 yards against the Lions, or one pass for 15 yards, or 2 passes for 31 yards? Or are we going to get the Devontae Smith that catches 5 for 116 and a touchdown, or 2 touchdowns? You know what I mean? So I think we could go Metcalf. We could go Lockett. There's a bunch of places we could go. We could even go Renfro. Screw it. Yeah, we'll throw this in. We'll throw it in like this. I guess that's okay. I don't hate it. We're just really banking on these 2 running backs scoring touchdowns. That's really what it comes down to. Not out of the realm of possibility. More so for Jeff Wilson. Mark Ingram, I'm not 100% sure. But we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know what some of the targets you're looking at this week. And I hope this helps. I hope you all have the best DFS weekend. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one.